Good morning and welcome to the enclosure. Want to first of all apologize for skipping out on my update last week. I really didn't have a lot to show you, so I think I've been a little bit overzealous in trying to ensure I provide you some more frequent updates. I think once a week is probably a bit too frequent. So if you guys have some thoughts on the matter, please let me know, but I will try now for every 2 weeks and hopefully always have something significant to show you in that period of time. Anyway, basically I've had a series of medical appointments. I had to get tested for asthma at the hospital, and then I had to go back to the hospital another time to get a cortisone injection into my lumbar spine, and also had some downtime due to some sleepless nights, and it just was not a productive week last week. This week's been quite a bit better, and we'll start off with basically I had to confirm the design of the kitchen layout, and that involved knowing the exact dimensions of the cabinets. We're going to be using IKEA cabinets. I'm completely satisfied with their quality, and I do like the interior fittings that they provide that some of the other custom manufacturers do not have. This whole build has been about putting the money where it matters, which is the exterior building envelope, and not worrying so much about the lipstick. Making it look good, making it look a little bit fancy, but not spending a ridiculous amount of money. Some people spend $60,000, $100,000, $150,000 on a kitchen. We're hoping to spend about, I don't know, 15 to 20, including all the appliances. Anyway, when I'm on the IKEA's website, they, depending on which link you hit, the dimensions of their cabinets are completely different from one link to the other. Some are just the frame, and then the frame dimensions will indicate the frame, just the plain frame, as well as the frame with the mounting rail that it hangs off of at the back. Then when you look at the complete cabinet with doors, that does not seem to take into account the mounting frame. So you actually have to morph the two together to get an accurate dimension. So I got fed up trying to figure out the actual dimensions, and just went out and bought a corner base cabinet and a corner wall cabinet so that I could accurately measure out what the dimensions were going to be. And good thing I did, because they were a little bit different than what I had originally drawn up. So that meant I had to go and redraw the AutoCAD layout of the cabinets to make sure that they fit. And in fact, I'm going to end up with about 1/4 of an inch too narrow of a gap, or an opening between the wall on our right and the wall on the left, so that the wall cabinets on that back wall do not fit by 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to have to trim something, and I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do yet. I might actually trim the drywall and bury the cabinets in by 1/4 of an inch into the drywall, which because it's there's no cabinets coming on the perpendicular wall, that would actually work and be, I think, fairly easy to do. But the reason that I needed to do all of this at this time is because I've started to frame the drop-down ceiling in the kitchen, and there's going to be an LED trough that goes along the perimeter of the kitchen ceiling. Here's a kind of a mock-up of it that I did earlier. So you can get an idea of it. So I think this will work if I tilt you down. And so the LED would be mounted here, it would shine up and out. So obviously this is just a working model. It won't have all of this debris here, but basically it'll be an indirect light that comes around the perimeter of the ceiling. So that is to mirror the kitchen cabinets, which is why having the exact dimension of the wall cabinets was important. I needed to ensure that this was going to have a consistent set off from the cabinet face. So the wall cabinets are basically going to come up flush with the bottom of this plywood. This plywood will form a bulkhead horizontally, and the cabinets will come up to the bulkhead. So there will be no gaps above the cabinets. So once that was done, we were then able to start framing out the drop, which is what you see here. So the center of the ceiling is going to be obviously higher than these bulkheads, but still dropped enough so that it clears all of these ducts that we have for our HRV. And then of course it was a matter of making sure everything was the same set off from the walls and level. So I'm just in the process now of leveling the bottom of the plywood along using the see if I can point it here, the laser level that I've got mounted there. And so we'll start doing that in the coming week. We also did the LED trough for the living room. Now this one's a bit different because there isn't going to be a drop ceiling. So I actually had to plane down the 2x3s so that they were actually, I think we ended up with 1 1/4 inch thickness, which is going to equal the thickness of the plywood that will get mounted to the underside of the trusses, and then the 3/4 rigid insulation that will sandwich the heating pipes, the radiant hot water heating pipes. And then the bottom 1/2 inch drywall will then sandwich that, will sandwich that drywall and then flow over the surface of the now 1 1/4 by 2.5 strips there. So it's going to be quite a shallow trough. It's going to take some doing to get the LED strip in there, but we think it is going to work. So once that was done, I turned my attention to the back wall of the dining room and did some more design back at the office, and decided that it would be nice to have a hutch for our dining room, an enclave for our dining room hutch. So we have a base unit that goes down, and then a wall unit here, and there will be some lights that we'll put shining down behind that area there, and then we'll have some built-in shelving units on each side, which defines the dining room a little bit nicer than just having that blank wall and then some pieces of furniture up against it. Provides some architectural interest, I think. What else? With the kitchen cabinet layout basically updated in AutoCAD, I was then able to frame out the wall that's going to go behind the kitchen island. And so that's what you see here. And basically the opening to the kitchen will be through here. And there's the new wall I talked about last week that we added. That will be the extent of the island here. And the reason that there's a frame out in that corner is that I do not like corner cabinets with lazy Susans. I find them fairly ineffective. We do have one in the kitchen, but the other two corners that we've got, I am going to instead switch it up, and the cabinet for this area will open to the living room and provide things like a storage for candles, coasters, placemats for the dining room, napkins, all that kind of stuff, so that they're easily accessible. With the framing done, I was then able to finish the final electrical boxes, which are in this wall, and figure out where my dishwasher circuits and that kind of thing. I'm just going to have a cable coming out of the wall there, comes out. So that's about it. We also spent some time at various vendors' locations, their showrooms, choosing things like tubs and faucets. I've ordered the family bathroom tub for upstairs, and I'm about to order the master bathroom tub. A good thing that we went out, I had my mind set on a specific model. Went out to Acrotech in Langley and looked at the model, and it just didn't suit. The depth of the tub was too high to comfortably rest your arms on the deck. And then the other one I was looking at, it was just too narrow and too short. So I was able to go to a Kohler showroom and find a tub that I really like. And now I just have to confirm the drain configuration and order the materials that I need. The last things that got done over the last 2 weeks is received the shower for the first floor. It's an enclosure we bought from the States. It's like the self-contained enclosure. So that's the ceiling of it there. Let me just tilt you down here. And then the base of it's in behind here. So now it's just a matter of, let me tilt you down some more here. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how to tie this into the drain system. What they've given me is this drain connection with a flexible pipe and some weird end on the end. So I'm not quite sure what their thinking is there, but obviously that's kind of a weird setup. So I'm going to have to contact them. I might have to take the flexible off here and tie it into something more suitable, like PVC, that I can then join up with the ABS drain system. So that's it. A lot of this got done this week, so there really wasn't much to show you last week. Spent a lot of time actually just taking some time off to recoup after several nights with limited sleep for some reason, and the various medical visits. So hopefully in the next update I will have finished most of the drop ceiling in the kitchen. I still have some details to work out of how to support the field of the drop ceiling in the middle, and then I'm still waiting to hear from the manufacturer on the electrical panel. There's some personal issues that the vendor has that is tying up their time, and I don't want to obviously push. So if I don't hear back in time, then I will start the plumbing, both the plumbing and maybe the shop here, which I've got, you can see in the background there, I've got the piping and fittings for. Thanks for visiting, and once again, let me know what you think of these updates. Do you like the video? Would you rather text and pictures? What's the frequency you'd like to see? this is really, I mean, this is about me documenting my process, but it's also about what you want to see. And if there's certain subjects that you guys want to see, please let me know. It'd be really nice to hear from you. It's always a pleasure when I hear from people out there. So I know that all of this effort to put it on the website and to keep track of everything isn't just for my own benefit. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.